Dear students, I am Dr. Timmegowda NR, Department of Chemistry, Government SKSJ Technological Institute, KR Circle, Bangalore. In this video, I am going to explain the engineering chemistry laboratory experiment potentiometric estimation of ferrous ammonium sulfate using standard potassium dichromate solution. What is potentiometry? Potentiometry is one of the electroanalytical method and it is used to find the concentration of solute in solution by measuring the potential difference, that is EMF, between the electrodes of an electrochemical cell during titration. Hence, the potentiometric titration is the titration in which the end point is detected by measuring the change in potential of an indicator electrode as a function of the added reagent volume. The electrode potential of a reference electrode, that is saturated calomel electrode, is constant. Hence, the change in potential during titration is directly proportional to the concentration of analyte. So this is the definition of potentiometry. So here EMF is equal to electrode potential of cathode minus electrode potential of anode. In our experiment, we used saturated calomel electrode as reference electrode and its electrode potential value plus 0.241 volt, and platinum electrode used as an indicator electrode. The types of potentiometric titrations are acid-base titration, redox titration, precipitation titration, and complexometric titration. So our experiment belongs to redox titration. Let's go through some of the applications of potentiometry. The potentiometry is used in clinical chemistry for analysis of metals using ion selective electrodes, which are important sensors for clinical samples because of their selectivity for analytes in complex matrices. The most common analytes are electrolytes such as sodium ion, potassium ion, calcium ion, hydrogen ion, and chloride ion, and also the dissolved gas such as carbon dioxide. The potentiometry is used for analysis of cyanide, fluoride, ammonia, nitrate, etc. in water or wastewater samples. And potentiometry can be used to determine pH of various sample solutions. So potentiometry is also used in agriculture for detection of different elements in soils as well as fertilizers. Potentiometry is used in detergent manufacturing and food processing also. To determine equivalence point volume in acid-base reactions, redox reactions, precipitation reactions, and complexometric reactions, to find the concentrations of given substances, we can use potentiometry. So these are some of the applications with potentiometry. The required accessories or components to conduct our potentiometric titrations are the potentiometer digital instrument, saturated calomel electrode, it is used as a reference electrode, And platinum electrode, it functions as an indicator electrode. It responds to change in concentration of the same species in different oxidation state. The burette, which is filled with standard potassium dichromate solution. It is an oxidizing agent. It will oxidize the ferrous Fe2 plus ions present in FeS to ferric ions, that is Fe3 plus ions. The beaker, which is filled with known volume of ferrous ammonium sulfate solution, it is also called Mohr salt solution, of unknown concentration. Volume is known, but concentration is unknown. And dilute sulfuric acid, it is used to maintain acidic condition. And magnetic stirrer with stirring bar to mix the solution during titration. So this is our experimental setup in our laboratory. So let's go through the procedure. First, we should pipette out 50 ml or any known volume of ferrous ammonium sulfate solution into 100 ml beaker. So this is you can assume it. We have pipetted 50 ml of ferrous ammonium sulfate solution, and we should identify the quantity of ferrous ammonium sulfate in liter, that is here. And then we should add 1:1 sulfuric acid about 10 ml into the beaker which containing ferrous ammonium sulfate solution. So this sulfuric acid, it will helps to maintain acidic condition that is required for redox reaction. So after that, we should immerse 2 electrodes, that is saturated calomel electrode and platinum electrode assembly, into the beaker containing solution. And these 2 electrodes are connected to the potentiometer. So after this, we should note down the initial potential, cell potential, that means potential difference between these 2 electrodes should be noted down before addition of standard potassium dichromate solution. Before addition of titrant, we should note down the initial potential difference. Then we should fill the burette with standard potassium dichromate. It is an oxidizing agent solution, and we should add potassium dichromate solution from the burette in increments of 0.5 ml or 0.1 ml for better accuracy, at least near the equivalence point. So I will brief. First, we should take a beaker and then should pipette out a known volume, 50 or any volume of ferrous ammonium sulfate solution into that beaker, and then we should add about 10 ml 1:1 sulfuric acid solution into the beaker to maintain acidic condition. And then we should immerse 2 electrodes, that is saturated calomel electrode reference electrode and platinum electrode indicator electrode, into it. And these 2 electrodes are connected to the potentiometer. And we place that beaker over magnetic stirrer, and we added stirring bar into the beaker because to mix automatically here. And then we should note down the initial potential difference before addition of potassium dichromate solution from the burette. And afterwards, we should start titration by adding standard potassium dichromate solution from the burette in the increments of 0.5 ml or 0.1 ml. It is to get better accuracy. So next, stir the mixture. It will magnetic stirrer will do that job, and we should note down the potential after each addition that I will show you in the next slide. And we should continue the titration till a sharp increase or drastic change, increase in potential or cell potential is obtained. So after getting sharp increase, we should continue for 5 more readings, and afterwards we should plot a graph of delta E divided by delta V, that is millivolt divided by ml, against volume of standard potassium dichromate solution at x-axis. And from this graph, we can get the equivalence point. That means the volume of potassium dichromate solution required for complete reaction. So that is the end point or equivalence point volume. You can get it from the graph. And by using this equivalence point volume, you can calculate the normality or concentration of ferrous ammonium sulfate solution. And finally, the weight of ferrous ammonium sulfate per liter of the solution. So this is the procedure we must follow. So let's go through what is the reaction occur during the titration. So here, the ferrous ammonium sulfate solution taken in the beaker. So that is, ferrous means that contains ferrous Fe2 plus ions in the beaker, and we added sulfuric acid that will provide hydrogen ions. When we add potassium dichromate from the burette, that potassium dichromate, that chromium ion, its valency +6 here, that potassium dichromate will oxidize ferrous ions present in ferrous ammonium sulfate into ferric ions. So here potassium dichromate is an oxidizing agent and ferrous ammonium sulfate is a reducing agent. So oxidizing agent potassium dichromate will oxidize ferrous into ferric. So overall reaction is redox reaction. So let's go through the observation and calculation part of the experiment. So in beaker, I assume I have, we can assume it like 30 ml instead of 50. Let's assume 30 ml of ferrous ammonium sulfate solution. You can take any volume, 50 also fine, but I assume these readings for 30 ml solution, and we added 10 ml of 1:1 sulfuric acid to the beaker. In burette, I have taken standard potassium dichromate solution. We know that standard solution is nothing but the solution whose concentration is known and it is very accurate, and that solution having more stability, hence it will maintain its concentration over a long time. And the instrument we used is potentiometer. So here, the first column, that is volume of potassium dichromate solution in ml. Second column, change in volume of potassium dichromate in ml. And third column, EMF or potential difference observed in potentiometer, that is in millivolt, and change in EMF, that is delta E in millivolts. And last column, it is delta E divided by delta V. So let's assume before addition of potassium dichromate solution, we observed the EMF in our instrument that is 383 millivolts. Next, I assumed I added 0.5 ml solution to the beaker. Then the observed EMF 398, and for 1 ml 409 millivolts, and after addition of 1.5 ml potassium dichromate, observed EMF 423, for 2 ml addition 442, for 2.5 ml 484. It's a gradual increase up to here. And for 3 ml potassium dichromate solution, we observed 810 millivolts. So you can see there's a drastic increase in EMF. Okay, later for 3.5 ml 862, it's not much difference here, again slow increase. And for 4 ml 883, for 4.5 900 millivolts, for 5 ml 910 millivolts. So because I obtained drastic increase in EMF for 3 ml, just I have taken another 4 more reading. If we get some different volume, so after getting sharp increase, we should go for another 4 to 5 titrations. So next, the change in volume, you can see 0.5 ml minus 0, 0.5, 1.0 ml minus 0.5 ml, 0.5 ml. So we increased gradually 0.5 ml increments. So the change in volume for one trial to next trial is 0.5. All the readings 0.5 here. And here delta E, change in EMF. Here 398 millivolts minus 383 millivolts. The difference is 15 millivolts. And 409 millivolts minus 398 millivolts, 11. So similarly, 423 minus 409, 14. 442 minus 423, it's 19. 484 minus 442, 42. And 810 minus 484, 326. So in this way, we can calculate the change in EMF from one trial to another trial. Okay. So if you observe this, the maximum change in EMF observed at 3 ml addition of potassium dichromate solution. So the last column, the ratio of the delta E divided by delta V. 15 is the delta E value and 0.5 is the delta V. 15 divided by 0.5, it is 30. Similarly, 11 divided by 0.5, 22. 14 divided by 0.5, 28. Similarly, 326 divided by 0.5, it is 652, etc. In this way, we can calculate delta E divided by delta V in millivolts per ml. So the question is, why we obtained or we observed the gradual increase up to 2.5 ml addition of potassium dichromate solution and sudden increase in EMF observed at 3 ml addition, and afterwards again gradual increase. So I will explain that by using Nernst equation. The change in electrode potential during titration can be explained by Nernst equation. So here we used 2 electrodes. That is, one is saturated calomel electrode. It's a reference electrode and its electrode potential value is constant throughout our experiment, and its value is 0.241. So it's not 241, it's 0.241 volt. So according to Nernst equation, the potential of an indicator electrode. What is the indicator electrode here? Platinum is the indicator electrode. Why it is called indicator electrode? Because that electrode will indicate the change in potential during the titration. Depends upon the concentration of the ion. The change in potential depends on concentration of the ions to which it is reversible. That means the same species in two different oxidation state. So here ferrous also available, ferric also available. So such kind of condition is required to provide change in electrode potential. So let us see the reaction occurred during the titration. I already explained in previous slide. So the beaker we have, in the beaker we have taken ferrous ammonium sulfate solution, that is Fe2 plus, in the presence of acid. The potassium dichromate, when we add into the beaker, that dichromate oxidizing agent will oxidize ferrous into ferric. Simultaneously, that chromium 6 plus ion will reduce to chromium 3 plus. So overall, it's a redox reaction. So here it is an oxidizing agent will undergo reduction. It is a reducing agent will undergo oxidation. So now the question is, why the EMF gradually increases up to 2.5 and at 3 ml suddenly increases and then again gradual increase. So because, so if we look at the Nernst equation, that is electrode potential E is equal to standard electrode potential E naught plus 2.303 RT divided by NF log of concentration of oxidized species divided by concentration of reduced species. Okay, so here the electrode potential of reference electrode is constant, hence the electrode potential, change in electrode potential during the titration depends on the platinum electrode potential here. Okay, so here up to equivalence point, the E electrode potential is equal to E naught value. So what is that E naught value? The system is before addition of potassium dichromate solution, the beaker contains only ferrous ions Fe2 plus. When we add dichromate into the beaker, it starts oxidation. That is, ferrous ions present in ferrous ammonium sulfate start oxidizing into ferric ions. You see now, before titration, only one type of ions here. After addition of dichromate, three types of ions generated. One is ferrous ion, ferric, ferrous ion oxidized to ferric ion. Simultaneously, the chromium 6 plus ion reduced to chromium 3 plus. Of course, the sulfate ion H plus that will be here, but we mainly concentrate on these ions, ferrous, ferric and chromium 3 plus. But even though it contains chromium 3 plus, it doesn't play in potential development, because according to this, you can see here, the depends upon the concentration of the ion to which it is reversible. So that means the same species iron present in two different oxidation state responsible for the change in electrode potential, because chromium is having only one valency here, but here both ferrous and ferric ions present. This is responsible for change in electrode potential up to equivalence point. So here the E naught value for Fe3 plus Fe2 plus system is equal to 0.77 volt. And as the titration continues, ferrous ion denominator decreases and ferric ion concentration increases. So numerator value increases, denominator value decreases. Hence, the potential or EMF increases. Once all the ferrous ion converted into ferric ions, there is no more ferrous ions present in the beaker. That means the reaction is completed. Reaction is completed. Then the added excess drop of potassium dichromate solution to the beaker, you see here. So there is no ferrous ions. You assume it all ferrous converted into ferric, only ferric ions. You can come to this part. Now, once all the ferrous converted into ferric, there is no more ferrous ions present here. Then the added extra drops of potassium dichromate, its valency chromium 6. It is unreacted potassium dichromate. So now you can see the combination, both same species, chromium, but with different oxidation state. Now these ions are responsible for electrode potential. Now, after this equivalence point, after this complete oxidation, why that EMF suddenly changes? Because you can see the standard electrode potential for chromium 6 plus chromium 3 plus is equal to 1.33 volt. It's almost double the ferric system. Hence, so this system is responsible for the electrode potential after complete reaction. So once that system changes from ferrous ferric to chromium 6 plus chromium 3 plus, the E0 value will double, almost double. Hence, the entire value will suddenly increases. So that is the reason why the sudden increase occur at that stage, because the system is changing from ferrous ferric to chromium 6 plus chromium 3 plus. E0 value will increase drastically, so potential also changes. What that indicates? That indicates all ferrous ion is reacted and converted into ferric. That means end point. That indicates end point. So this is the reason. Okay. Afterwards, why it is gradual increase? Because E0 value for this system is fixed now, 1.33, and only the concentration of numerator, that means added extra unreacted chromium 6 plus, will be added into the solution. That means numerator value is gradually increases. So after equivalence point, gradual increase in electrode potential will be observed. So this is the reason why we observe drastic change at 3 ml. So up to that, so ferrous ferric system, and afterwards chromium 6 plus chromium 3 plus, its values are 1.33. So hence, after complete reaction, the electrode potential or the EMF suddenly changes at that stage. That indicates complete reaction is occur. So that is the equivalence point or end point of the reaction. So now, to calculate the equivalence point by graphical method, how to calculate? We can see here at x-axis we should take volume of potassium dichromate solution at x-axis, and at y-axis we should take delta E divided by delta V in millivolts per ml. So we can plant this directly, the EMF versus concentration of potassium dichromate solution also will get S-shaped curve, but it's difficult to get accurate end point. So that's what we are going for, the first derivative here, delta E divided by delta V. Then we will get this type of curve. So it's very easily we can identify accurate equivalence point here. So if we plot this, you can see here for 0.5 ml, the delta E divided by delta V value is 30. For 1 ml, it's 22. And for 1.5, 28. And for 2 ml, it's 38. And 2.5, it's 84. And suddenly it increases to 652. And then again 104, 42, 34, 20. So it's reduced. So from this graph, so you can see the scale here at x-axis, 1 unit is equal to 0.5 ml of potassium dichromate solution. At y-axis, 1 unit is equal to 50 millivolts per ml. So from this peak, if we plot and extend it to x-axis, the intersection point gives the equivalence point or end point volume here. So by using this equivalence point volume, further we can calculate the concentration of ferrous ammonium sulfate solution. So we know the formula, that is N1V1 is equal to N2V2 here. So normality and volume of potassium dichromate solution is equal to normality and volume of ferrous ammonium sulfate. So N1 normality of dichromate solution, that is standard solution, 0.5 normal using, and volume of potassium dichromate solution, it consumed for equivalence point, that is we obtained from the graph, that is equal to 3.0 ml. And V2 is the volume of ferrous ammonium sulfate solution we pipetted out. I assumed it is for 30 ml. We pipetted 30 ml here. So it is the normality of ferrous ammonium sulfate solution. It is to be calculated. So by using these values, normality of ferrous ammonium sulfate solution is equal to normality of potassium dichromate solution into volume of potassium dichromate solution. Volume we can get it from graph, divided by volume of ferrous ammonium sulfate solution taken in the beaker. So if we substitute the known values, normality standard solution is 0.5 into the volume of dichromate is consumed for end point or equivalence point, that is equal to 3.0, divided by, and volume of ferrous ammonium sulfate solution we have taken in the beaker, that is equal to 30. So normality of ferrous ammonium sulfate solution is equal to 0.05 normal. So this is the concentration of our pipetted ferrous ammonium sulfate solution. So once we know the normality of ferrous ammonium sulfate solution, we can calculate the weight of ferrous ammonium sulfate. So first I will calculate weight of ferrous ammonium sulfate present in 30 ml of taken solution. So weight of ferrous ammonium sulfate in 30 ml, because I pipetted 30 ml. So 0.05 normal solution concentration we identified into the equivalent weight of FAS 392 into the taken volume of ferrous ammonium sulfate 30. We should divide by 1000. So that gives 0.588 grams of ferrous ammonium sulfate present in 30 ml. Okay. So let's calculate how much quantity of ferrous ammonium sulfate present in 1000 ml solution if we taken. So weight of ferrous ammonium sulfate present in 1000 ml of solution if we consider, that is equal to normality of ferrous ammonium sulfate solution we identified into equivalent weight of ferrous ammonium sulfate. That is normality 0.05 into its equivalent weight 392 grams. So if we consider in 1000 ml, 19.6 grams of ferrous ammonium sulfate is present. So in this way, we can calculate the concentration of unknown ferrous ammonium sulfate solution as well as the weight of ferrous ammonium sulfate present in the taken volume as well as how much present in if it is considered 1000 ml solution. So finally, the weight of ferrous ammonium sulfate present in 1000 ml of ferrous ammonium sulfate solution is equal to 19.6. So in this way, we can calculate the concentration as well as weight of ferrous ammonium sulfate by potentiometry. The reference materials I have used the Vogel textbook of quantitative chemical analysis, laboratory manual, and also the web search engines. Let's go through some of the multiple choice questions covered on this topic. The question number 1, in potentiometric titrations, the endpoint determined by measuring option A, the change in conductance during titration, option B, the change in pH during titration, option C, the change in absorbance during titration, option D, change in potential during titration. So the right answer is we used this change in potential during the titration in potentiometric titration to find the end point. Hence the right answer is option D. Question number 2. The reference electrode used in potentiometric titration is platinum electrode, calomel electrode, combined glass electrode, all of the above. So reference electrode we used in our experiment is saturated calomel electrode, and the right answer is option B. Question number 3. The indicator electrode used in potentiometric titration is option A platinum electrode, option B calomel electrode, option C combined glass electrode, option D all the above. So we know that we used platinum electrode as an indicator electrode because this platinum electrode indicates the change in potential during the titration. Hence the right answer is option A. Question number 4. Among potassium dichromate and ferrous ammonium sulfate, option A, potassium dichromate reducing agent and ferrous ammonium sulfate oxidizing agent. Option B, potassium dichromate oxidizing agent and ferrous ammonium sulfate reducing agent. Option C, both potassium dichromate and FAs are reducing agents. Option D, both potassium dichromate and FAs are oxidizing agents. So we know that potassium dichromate, it is an oxidizing agent, and ferrous ammonium sulfate, it's a reducing agent in this combination. The right answer is option B. Question number 5. The valency of chromium and iron in potassium dichromate and ferrous ammonium sulfate are option A, chromium +2, iron +6, option B, chromium +3, iron +3, option C, chromium +6, iron +2, option D, chromium +6, iron +3. But right answer is the valency of chromium in potassium dichromate is +6 and valency of iron in ferrous ammonium sulfate is +2. Hence the right answer is option C. Question number 6. The change in potential during potentiometric titration can be explained by option A, Berend equation, option B, Nernst equation, option C, second law of thermodynamics, option D, none of the above. So as we discussed, the change in potential during titration, in potentiometric titration can be explained by Nernst equation. Hence the right answer is option B. Question number 7. During potentiometric titration of potassium dichromate and ferrous ammonium sulfate, as the titration proceeds, the EMF or potential, what will happen? Whether option A, first increases and then decreases, option B, first decreases and then increases, option C, increases, option D, decreases. So here the right answer is during potentiometric titration of K2Cr2O7 and FAS, as the titration proceeds, the EMF increases. So don't confuse. So while plotting the graph for first derivative curve, the EMF, it's like we observed increase and decrease. It is not the EMF. It is change in EMF divided by change in volume. But if we consider only the potential, then throughout the titration, it goes on increases because if we look at the Nernst equation, the ions present at numerator will be increased throughout the titration. Hence, the right answer is option C. Question number 8. Potentiometry can be used, option A, in clinical chemistry for analysis of metals, or B, option B, for analysis of Cn minus, F minus, NH3, NO3, etc. in water, option C, used in agriculture for detection of different elements in soils as well as fertilizers, option D, all the above. So while discussing about applications of potentiometry, we observed that so we can use for all these applications, and the right answer is all the above. Option D. Question number 9. The chemical formula of ferrous ammonium sulfate is option A, NH4 twice FeSO4 twice 6H2O. Option B, NH4 FeSO4 twice 6H2O. Option C, NH4 twice FeSO4 6H2O. Option D, NH4 FeSO4 6H2O. The right answer is option A. That is NH4 twice FeSO4 twice 6H2O. You can see here SO4 twice means valence is -2 into 2 -4. So the ferrous +2 here. The remaining +2 is given by ammonium ions. So right answer is option A. Question number 10. During the titration between potassium dichromate, that is K2Cr2O7, and ferrous ammonium sulfate, the chemical reaction occur is option A, only oxidation reaction. Option B, only reduction reaction. Option C, redox reactions. Option D, neutralization reactions. So as we discussed, during titration between K2Cr2O7 and FAS, so because one is oxidizing agent and other one is reducing agent. The reaction between oxidizing agent and reducing agent, simultaneous redox reaction, both oxidation as well as reduction reaction. Hence the right answer is option C, redox reactions. Thank you.